Hey everyone, it's Mermaid Rochelle. I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to install my Mermaid hair tinsel. On the first page, you will see the set of tools that I like to use to install my Mermaid hair tinsel. First, you want to section your client out to the position of where you want to place your tinsel. Also, when using tinsel, guys, I like to pull out a pretty big section. I also like to keep them organized by handing them to my client while I'm working. I will wet my tinsel down. You guys will see me doing this. I like to wet the tinsel down and get it all flat and laying in the same direction. This just gives you better control and it helps when you go to thread it through the needle. Once you get it soaked down and straightened out the way that you like, you'll see me come in and I will just clip it as even as I can at the ends. This again is going to keep my ends all the same length. It's going to be easy to thread in the long run, especially if you're putting multiple pieces of tinsel in at one time, which is my favorite way to do it. I'm going to hand off my loop tool to my client. She's going to hold the base of that for me. I'm going to put one silicone bead on at a time. I'm going to grab one of the ends that I wetted down prior, and I will probably go back in a couple times and wet those fine ends down again. Like I said, wetting the tinsel down gives you better control. However, it does dry out fairly quickly, so sometimes I have to do it a few times to make the tinsel workable and more comfortable for me to thread through the silicone bead. Now the silicone bead, guys, I tend to match the silicone bead closest to my client's natural root color, or if you're putting it in a wig, I would match it as close to the wig color that you have. Once you're satisfied with the control of your tinsel, you're gonna go ahead and move towards the bead and you're gonna go ahead and thread that through. It may take a couple tries, it's okay, try not to get frustrated. It is just tinsel, so don't worry about it. Sometimes I lose a couple pieces as well. Once you get that through, you're gonna pull that through. And as you see me pulling it through, I'm actually gonna pull it down and I'm gonna try and separate the pieces from the middle. This is just to keep it from getting tangled and sticking to itself. Once I get it straightened out and to my liking, I'm going to actually grab both pieces of the tinsel that I've pulled through. You should have two sides now, and I'm actually going to tie them together, just a small one knot, tie it through just to attach it to the bead a little bit better. This is just going to help keep the tinsel in place as I'm installing it, so it's not sliding up and down through the bead. Again, it just gives better control. At the end of the video, you're going to actually see me pull that knot out as we don't actually need it. Next, I'm going to use my needle nose extension pliers to install the extension. I'm gonna come up to my client, section her hair out. You really don't want to take a wider section than the width of the bead. This is just going to create the best install and create less tension so we don't cause any breakage on our client's natural hair. I'm going to then take the loop tool. I'm gonna pull the hair through the loop, and then I'm going to pull the hair through the bead, which is then going to pull the tinsel through. I'm going to hold the silicone bead pretty tight up at the scalp for just a second. I tend to switch hands quite a bit. I'm going to reach for my pliers. I will slide down the client's scalp about 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch. You really don't want these spouting out or looking like water fountains, as like I like to call them, because it can cause tension and break out of the scalp. Next, I'm going to even out her extension, cut it to her length, and she's good to go. Voila.